Well, welcome. My name is Jay Rivera, and I will be your presenter today for this very, very important topic. But first, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've been here in Bear Valley now for 4 years. So I've been an officer here, and I can tell you one of the things that prompted me, motivated me to do this class is because I much rather be here on this end, prevention, talking to you guys, education about what it is, a scam. Because there's some telltale signs that clearly identify a scam rather than being on the end where I'm taking a report and unfortunately you lost, thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars, which I've seen. I know one of the worst cases that I've seen personally here in Bear Valley has been a lady that had $21,000 taken from her. And I mean, I don't know who has that kind of money where $21,000 wouldn't hurt. That hurts. So as I said, I'd rather be on this end where I'm educating people, preparing people, hence the name Hard Target. I want you guys to be hard targets because people see, the scammers see you all as easy targets. So there's a couple of reasons why. It's older people are more apt to be respectful of authority. Younger people today, Generation X, why? How come? Who? Why? Tell me why. Whereas older people, we're more apt to be, I'm from the government. And yes, sir. No, yes, ma'am. And we're more apt to obey. And we're more apt to, when somebody presents a credential that appears to be legitimate, that we will give in. And so hopefully by being here, it'll be worth your time. You will leave here better educated, less likely to be scammed. And so please share the information that you hear here with people. Because what I want this to be is you guys will get the material today, but share with people. I know that Carol, she's got a story here that, and that's the important thing that needs to happen in order to have prevention. A lot of times what happens is after the fact, people go, God, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I fell for that. And what happens? They don't talk about it. And there's nothing better than to share that story because it's not about being lack of intelligence. It's just the scammers are good. They got a hook into some kind of emotion that you had, something emotional that's what marketing's about. Buy the latest car and you can be cool. You buy the latest pickup truck and you can pick up all the girls. There's always that implication when you see. So scammers understand that part of psychology, and that's how they get hooks in. So without further ado, let's get started. I want to start off with California Penal Code 530.5, identity theft. This is probably the most common report that we take regarding identity theft or scams. And this is the law straight from the book. Every person who willfully obtains personal identifying information, and we'll talk about what constitutes that personal identifying information, information of another person, uses that information for an unlawful purpose, including to obtain or attempt to obtain credit, goods, services, real property, or medical information without the consent of the other person. And so here's what a person is according to the definition of the law. And that means a natural person, living or deceased. A firm, an association, an organization, a partnership, a business trust, a company, a corporation, a limited liability company, public entity, or any other legal entity. And personal identifying information, that could be your name, your address, phone number, social security numbers, driver's license, passport numbers, date of birth, biometric data, your fingerprints, facial scans, account numbers, any kind of account, PIN numbers, passwords, credit card numbers, and similar identifiers. Pretty much anything that identifies you, even a gym membership. If somebody obtains that gym membership and let's say they get a couple of free months of gym because they were acting or pretending to be you, and that would fall under this penal code. So it's important that we understand some of the common terms that are used in the scamming world, because like that lady that was the victim of that $21,000, the reason that they were able to hook her is this was during Christmas. And raise your hands, who uses Amazon? Okay, so everyone uses Amazon, so that's an everyday thing. Well, for her, it was like, well, they said they were for Amazon, and if you're a grandmother and you have grandkids, isn't it just very convenient to call Amazon or go on there and say, let me buy this, let me buy that? And then the scammer, their timing was just perfect. They said, we're from Amazon. And so having just recently ordered something from Amazon, it appeared legit to her. So it's important that we understand so some of these terms. So phishing with a P. And instead of phishing, as we normally think about with a pole, where we catch one single pole, it's truly more like the graphic, like the image, where they cast a net. And they'll send out an email, a text message, even a phone call, thousands of times throughout the day, thousands of times, and someone bites. And so they cast a big net, and someone's gonna bite. The things have to be right. Someone has to be in need, maybe. Someone has to, just the timing has to be just right. As I said, somebody just ordered something from Amazon, and so it seemed legit. I just ordered something from Amazon. Now suddenly Amazon's calling me. It must be legit. It wasn't. Okay, so fake emails, websites that appear legitimate, and they're designed to steal your personal information, such as your username, passwords, and credit card details. When they steal your information, it isn't always evident. Sometimes it happens inside that computer, and you're not even aware of it. I'll give you a real common one that everyone here can relate to, everyone here's experienced. Malware, okay? Adware is something that when you buy something, you click on something, suddenly you start getting a lot of ads for the same thing. Somebody installed, you clicked on something, and now you're getting adware. And so that's a semi-harmless malware, but there are others where they can be as extreme as ransomware, where they actually can lock up your computer, and they can then because obviously once you have your computer, they're gonna have a lot of your information. Your address, your phone number, they can contact you via another medium and say, give me this, give me $10,000, and I will free up your computer. And depending on how valuable it is, it's usually not done for lay people, it's more for a business. You know, you get a CEO and you get malware on a CEO that you can do ransomware, and you can say, give me this. CEOs are gonna have some very, very valuable information on their computers. And so that's where it almost has to, like, I can't lose that information, and they're willing to pay the ransom. If you guys have a question just along the way, just raise your hand. See if I get these to play.
What is phishing? There aren't really any fishes involved, but phishing scams do include bait, delivery messages, friend impersonations, a summon to the court. Oh look, a link to a puppy video. Congratulations, you're on the hook. Today I'm going to answer what is phishing, explain the types of phishing, and of course, how to spot and avoid a phishing attack. So, what is a phishing attack? While the terminology and the meaning of phishing can get complicated, the process itself is quite simple. It's way closer to a magic trick than a sophisticated hack, except that this magic trick might be an Avada Kedavra to your banking account. To have phishing explained simply, let's make up a scenario. You get an email. We're sorry to inform you, but your bank account was compromised in a data breach. Please take immediate action to protect your savings. Fill information in the provided link. You click the link, and it opens an official-looking website. Everything looks good. So you add the info, and your money is supposedly safe. Is it? If you would have taken a closer look, you'd see that the website is fake, and your money starts dripping from your account and to the pocket of the cyber criminal. According to the Office of National Statistics, 3% of people who receive phishing scams opens the provided link. Out of those who do, about 11% give away their info. That adds up to around 80,000 people. Sure, some phishing examples are downright ridiculous. Unknown inheritance, faraway land princess. But if it wouldn't work at least sometimes, no one would do it. With more and more scam examples filling the internet, you'd totally think you're safe. And with a false sense of security, you're less likely to double check when a phishing attack looks more legit, or when it's tailored specifically to you. Targeted attacks are the ones that do most damage, and it's the most popular among the different types of phishing. So, what is spear phishing exactly? This phishing attack requires a bit more research from the attacker side. As a result, it can include lots of personal details. This time, the email won't be vague. It will represent itself as a trustworthy source and might mention the names of your colleagues, stuff you bought, or your contact info. For example, scammers can post as possible recruiters on LinkedIn. This way, a link for signing a contract for an exciting new job can lead you to a malware-infected website. There are so many possible phishing examples. An email from a friend who had all his belongings stolen on a trip, or a message from your delivery company asking to confirm some details. Is phishing illegal? Of course, but that doesn't stop the scammers. What's more, the answer to is phishing malware is often a yes. Even if you don't add your personal details, a website might prompt a download with a virus, and the attackers can obtain your info through logging your key clicks or go as far as encrypting your files and asking for a ransom. But don't panic, this is the worst case scenario, and there are measures to avoid these situations. So, how to prevent phishing, and what is a common indicator of a phishing attempt? Well, phishing attacks prevention requires some mindfulness. First, ideally, don't click on any suspicious links or emails. If you have to open an email, check for unusual attachments and never open any suspicious files. Also, check the email address itself. Do you know the sender? The email might present itself as a letter from a major corporation, but the address will have nothing to do with the company. That's a clear sign of a phishing attack. Of course, tiny grammar errors can also mean trouble, or the content itself might seem extra weird. Yeah, no thanks. Another major red flag might be the tone. If an email is written in an urgent style, there's a lot of pressure to click something or to respond, be skeptical about it. If you absolutely have to click on something, inspect the outgoing link for minor errors. Even better, if it asks you to log into a specific website, don't click the link. Open the browser and enter the website manually through the address you're already used to. You can also take some precautionary measures, update your browser, and consider investing in cybersecurity software. For example, an antivirus might help to spot malware. Plus, some VPNs have features that are capable of scanning websites to make sure they're legit. NordVPN and their threat protection is a good example of this, but that's additional measures. As long as you understand what is phishing, know the meaning of phishing, and measures to prevent it, you're minimizing your chances of being phished.
So obviously, well, it's more of an explanation, but basically it can come in the form of an email, a text message. There are many forms in which it can come. And so phishing is done. Here's an example. This is a lot of this stuff I get. And so this is me personally. And so let's look at some of this information up here. The number up on top, that's usually called the short number. And what you can see up here, that looks more like a traditional number, where it's got an area code, 3 digits / 4 digits. So that's a clue right there. So look at that number up on top that's called a short number. It should usually be a short number, 6 to 7 digits. And so here, can you guys tell where this message or text message is supposedly from? The post office. Do you think the post office uses 985-778-3? So that's a common number. I guarantee the United States Post Office has a short number. So that's about a 7-digit number. So right off the bat, I know that that's, and well, the other obvious clue here is I'm not expecting a package. Okay? So if you're not expecting a package, already be suspicious when suddenly the Postal Service is telling you something about you have mail. So number one clue is look at the top number. I know that the post office has a short number, and they should not have a full digit. If you have Verizon, if you have Chase, a bank, phone company, any kind of major organization, they will have a short number, not a phone number. So if you see a major corporation and it has a it has a full number, a regular number, know that that's a red flag right there.
What do you mean by short?
So instead of being broken down as a traditional number with an area code, 3 digits / 4 digits, it'll just be 7 numbers in a row. There's no break. It's just 7 numbers in a row. I'll bet you I probably have one. If you look in your text messages, I can almost assure you you have one. So look here. Here's one from H&R Block. And so you see, instead of having a traditional number, is that number up on top.
I get some of those sometimes.
Yes. So a major corporation like this one is from H&R Block, that's what I would expect. But if I got a text, and this one I solicited by changing my password, so I expected that number. So depending on what they're asking. So it depends on what they're asking. But in simply analyzing a text message or an email, in this case, text message, look at that top number. If it's a major corporation, it should be a 6 to 7 digit number instead of a telephone number. Right. So good thing we're here, because that's lesson number one. If you have a major corporation and you have a traditional number, that's a red flag that this is probably not a legitimate text message. So the other thing is it's HTML file, and it's asking, your package has arrived at this distribution facility, but we're unable to deliver it due to an incomplete address information. Very, very common tactic. We have your package, but we can't deliver it to you. And who doesn't want their mail if the post office says they have it? We all want it. Like, what do I have to do? And it's telling you, please click on this file above to update your address. And so what will happen is you'll click on there, and you'll probably get some kind of phony baloney message, but it's not that. It's what happened is when you clicked on there, you downloaded something onto your computer. And so what can happen is one of the programs that they can install in there is they learn your key. Every key that you press, it'll remember that. So if I'm logging into my bank and I'm inputting my password, that virus that got installed will remember the password. And now they have access to that. So if you're not expecting mail and you suddenly get something like this, number one, red flag. Two, you see that it has a traditional number. The format's in the traditional format. Second red flag. It's asking you to click on HTML files. Automatically, don't do it. Okay? If it's legitimate, you will hear again from them. If you still have suspicions, call the post office. You do the initiating. Versus when they initiate something that doesn't sound right, that's a red flag. So remember, these are happening thousands and thousands of times throughout the day. Okay, they're happening thousands, and that's why they're phishing. So they're casting a net and hoping that someone's going to bite, hoping that someone's going to click, hoping that someone's going to respond. So the other term is spoofing. This is, well, it said that it was the IRS. They said it was Kern County Sheriff's Office. I've heard that. I've heard that from victims here. So the term is spoofing, and that's an email that appears to come from a known contact or trusted organization to trick recipients into sharing sensitive information. So that caller ID, when you get a, can you do me, call me? So, and this could be, like I input this information, but if my next video hopefully plays, it'll show you there's a device. It's about $10,000. So, see in this case, see, so it says J. Stella. That is very easy to manipulate. Okay, it could have it say FBI, IRS, Social Security Administration, Amazon, Apple. That is very, very easy to manipulate. So just because there's a caller ID on there, do not automatically assume that that is in fact Apple, that that is in fact Windows, that that is in fact Amazon. It may not be, okay? So, but it says there, that is no proof. That's very, very easy to manipulate. And so don't rely on the mere fact that the caller ID said that it was.
If you get a call from a number that looks official, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is, because scammers are able to spoof their numbers to look like they're someone that they're not. They can spoof any number, the IRS, the FBI, Microsoft, your mom, anyone. I've been following a team of scammers for several weeks, watching how they do this, and I'm going to show all of you. But first, let's give you an overview of how this scam works and how they get to this point. Scammers will lure you in with a pop-up on your screen that says your computer is at risk and you need to call Microsoft or Apple to get it fixed.
Please call support immediately.
Now, how do they do this? Well, they create websites with malicious scripts, and if you stumble across one of these websites, they can force your browser to display this fake pop-up. So now you think that your computer is locked up and you need to call the number, which connects you with the scammers.
Thank you for calling support. How can I help you?
These types of scammers operate out of India in the middle of the night, and they will tell you that they need to connect you to the Microsoft Secure server, and then they have you download AnyDesk or UltraViewer. These programs have nothing to do with any Microsoft Secure server. They're just screen control software. And when you download these programs and give the scammers your ID number, scammers can now control your computer. And they're just gonna run a bunch of commands and feed you a bunch of BS about how you've got hackers in your network.
The problem that you're facing is a cyber attack.
And then they're gonna tell you that your bank account might have also been compromised by these foreign intruders. And the way that they convince you of this is to have your bank deliver the bad news. So they'll tell you to find your bank's phone number.
What I'm going to do for you is that I'm going to verify this number, then I'm going to transfer your call to your banking institution, which is Bank of America, okay?
And then one of their coworkers will call you using the bank's actual number. Now, how are they doing this? Well, the scammers are making their calls with VoIP software. VoIP stands for Voice over Internet Protocol. The VoIP software converts a phone call from an analog one to a digital signal. All these scammers are making and taking calls using laptops, and the calls are then routed through a private branch exchange, or PBX for short. This is a service that configures internal phone lines within an organization, and by tweaking the PBX files, you can display an outgoing call under any number that you want. I'll demonstrate this for you right now using the scammer's very own software. First, let's find the Apple support phone number. Okay, remember this number. I then had my team members, Xandro and Knight, who are the real brains to uncover all this, use the Apple support number as the display number, and then call my personal cell phone. Let me show you what happened next. Apple's calling. This can't be legal.
Can you answer the phone and see what they have to say, or you wouldn't?
You can answer it, yes. But what I'm saying is if it says IRS and then the voice says, this is the IRS and you owe money and we'll take payment right now. Do you have your credit card ready? So number one, don't assume it's gotta be the IRS. The caller ID said IRS. The person I spoke with said he was IRS. So don't assume that in fact it is legitimate. It's not just the name that can be manipulated. It's not just the name that can be changed. It's the phone number. And so what I will do is if I'm the scammer, I will go, for example, Apple. If I say I'm from Apple, your computer needs to be repaired because it has a virus. I will go to the legitimate web page and see what Apple's customer number is. And then I will take that number and spoof it and call you with it. And so you go 1-800-123, whatever it is, and then you go, let me verify, let me go online, independent of this phone call, let me go online. Oh, it is in fact the same number. That is still not foolproof way of doing it, of verifying that it is. So numbers and names can very, very easily be manipulated. This is what I tell my kids, tell my family members. Trust your instinct. If something doesn't sound right, trust it, okay? There's a reason why something is warning you that, hey, something is not right. If you do believe it's legitimate, and it does turn out to be legitimate, say, hold on, let me call back, let me verify. That company will have no problem you doing that. In fact, most financial institutions are going to understand that and probably encourage you to do that. One of the big red flags is going to be, no, don't get off the phone. The pressure to keep you on the phone is a sign that this is a scam. Social Security Administration and the IRS will never, ever, ever initiate contact with a person by phone.
They only send letters.
They'll send letters, and so once you receive a letter, and now if you get a phone call, now you're expecting it. Now you understand somewhat. But it can still be just perfect timing on part of the scammer, so still be careful that I received the letter, and now I have someone saying that they're from the IRS. It's perfectly fine to say, I'm gonna hang up, let me verify that you are in fact the IRS. And then you can call back. And if it's still legitimate business, then you can do your business then. But you'll notice that if it is a scammer, the big tail sign, the big red flag is going to be that pressure to not let you hang up. That big pressure to stay on the line, because if they let you go, it's just like fishing. The fish got away, now I got to throw the hook back in. It's a very appropriate term, fishing. Okay, so malware, we talked about it a little bit. It's the links or the attachments in an email or on a website that when you click on it, installs malicious software on your device that steals your personal information. And it's not always evident. In fact, the large majority of the time, you won't know that it's been installed. You've clicked on something, nothing happened, you go, no harm, no foul. It's what's happening behind in the computer. It's not going to be evident to the layperson. So try not to click on anything that you don't suspect, or anything that you suspect is not legitimate, do not click on it. Hyperlink. The hyperlink can be the piece of text or an image, an icon, or a graphic that points to and navigates you to a different web page or document. When you click on it, it can also point to a specific section of an element within that same web page or document. Hyperlinks are clickable pointers to a resource. If you look on this text message, and this is another one that I got, the part that's in blue, that's the hyperlink. That's the part that you click on that, you can install something onto your computer. It'll take you somewhere else, and I'll show you a bill that I've got, an invoice for a computer that I supposedly bought, and I actually clicked on it for purposes of this class, so I took one for the team. But here's another one. Look at this email, and as we go along, hopefully you guys will become wiser and more educated on how to spot them. So who's this from? Well, remember the first thing up on top. Okay, do you think the United States Post Office is going to have an online shipment 961SB at 31? I guarantee you the United States Post Office is going to have something .gov, USPS.gov, something more professional, more recognizable. If you have an email that long that says .com, it's going to be a scam, okay? It's going to be a scam. So right off the bat, I can tell you that that's a scam. And then the other thing is, read the text from subject, starting from subject. So basically what this says is, due to an invalid address, the Y is capitalized, you have a package. So because I have an invalid address, I have a package? Or is it because I ordered something that I have a package that needs to be delivered? But it has been suspended due to an incorrect delivery address. So they're saying the same thing twice in different ways. That's very unusual. If you do not update your address before 24 hours, your package will be returned to sender. To deliver your package, not to deliver your package, please update your address by click the link below. So what you need to remember is this, as I mentioned, 80% of scams are done by people from India. So clearly English is not their first language. And so they haven't quite mastered that. So on this, the big thing is the hyperlink. Don't click on it, especially, so when you get something like this, start from the very top. Is it a short number? Okay, so number one, the sender's supposed to be the United States Postal Service. As I said, major corporations, name it, a bank, Chase, Wells Fargo, a phone company, Verizon, online shopping, Amazon. Those major corporations are going to have very recognizable short numbers or emails. And there's usually going to be you're not going to have .com. If you have .com, that's almost a clue that that's a legitimate company. Okay. The second thing is, well, are you expecting a package? That's really important. If you're not expecting a package and this comes out of the blue, then know that it's a scam. But then also the third clue here is the improper grammar. So the grammar is not the best. So that's a clue. I would think that the United States Postal Service can send out a very professional looking email. They're formatted, they're already in the queue, ready to just push send. And somebody already grammatically checked them and they're all, and they're correct. And so this is just mail, okay? So throw in circumstances where maybe you're in hard times financially and it's an offer for you to make a quick buck. And those two needs meet themselves, like, wow, I need money and here's a great offer. That's where you can absolutely read into it and not see the telltale signs that it's fraud. Okay, this is a really important one. Remote access. They're all important, but this one particularly, remote access. This is how they actually are able to get into your computer. This is what allows the user to control your computer from a different location, such as India, as if they were sitting in front of your computer here in Bear Valley. So remote access, the legitimate reason for it is, especially like in light of what happened in 2020 with COVID, people were working from home. So if I needed to access my computer at work, I would use one of these services, UltraViewer, AnyDesk, TeamViewer, Microsoft Remote Desktop. If you get something like that where somebody says, install this, and they're on the phone telling you to install something, and then the command's going to be Control-R for remote. That means you are installing one of these programs so that they can literally be behind your computer. So now everything that you have on your computer, they have the same exact access. And so when you auto-populate accounts like your bank, or if you have passwords somewhere on your computer where it says notes for passwords, and they see that, they can click on that. Oh, Wells Fargo? Okay, here's their notes. They can go through your computer as if they were you. So do not download anything. I can't think of a legitimate, short of it being your employer, where someone would legitimately ask you to install one of these remote access. The internet is not dangerous. It's just like, it's not dangerous to go outside if you're careful. If you go on the internet and you're careful, you just take some measures. So by recognizing some of these scams, you're more apt to pick up on it. And you're more apt to go, wait a minute, that's not right. They wouldn't do that, and ignore it. But banking, I mean, I do all my banking. I've never had an issue, knock on wood. But I feel very safe with that. And it's because, and I'll talk a little bit about it, the passwords. Passwords are a big, big part of making a scammer access your financial accounts. It's a lot like law enforcement. It's a cat and mouse game. We learn their techniques, bad grammar, bad spelling. Okay, well, then they come back and improve better grammar, better spelling by using AI. So we learn their technique, they adapt. And it's constantly ongoing. And so that's why anti-ware is so important, because it's looking for some of the newest, the greatest, because they're always, the viruses, they're changing all the time. And so that's why you need current antivirus, because if you just keep the same one, it'll be good at protecting some of the old viruses, but the new ones are going to be able to infiltrate an old antivirus program. So that's why it's really important to keep it updated and current. So HTML is hypertext markup language, the most fundamental building blocks of the web. It defines the meaning and structure of the web. This is where all the colors, all the numbers, the text, the fonts, all that, somebody has to, and they look similar to that. All of that means something. And so to Windows, when you have your window up, and it's like you see the colors and the fonts, like obviously the font up there is different from the font down here. That's all HTML. And so the point behind that is this: you could be looking at what you believe is your bank page, and it's got a balance and everything. A common scam is somebody says, hey, I'm calling from Amazon, and we credit you money back. You made a payment, and so if the circumstances are right and you just happen to have made a payment, and they're going to say, we credit you too much money, and we can show you in your bank page. And so they're manipulating all that by manipulating the HTML, and they could show that you have $40,000 in there. And the guy's going to go, I overpaid you $30,000. I meant to pay you $300, but I ended up doing $30. Can you please log into your bank, return the money so that I don't get in trouble? That's a very common. Please, I'm going to lose my job. My family depends on this job. Please log in and just refund the money back. You'll have your $300, and you're going to be like, but wait a minute, I wasn't supposed to be getting $300, but I'll give him back his money, and I get to keep $300? Okay, let's do it. And what they're actually doing is they manipulated the screen. It's a temporary screen that makes you believe that you did have, somebody did deposit, let's say $40,000, and it was supposed to be $400 supposedly. And so now you actually log onto your computer with your actual password. You essentially opened up your bank to them, and if they have a remote app installed, they can now go withdraw to my account. and that's how they can get your money. So HTML is if you see your web page, like I bank with Wells Fargo. If I see Wells Fargo up and it shows that I have a lot more money than what I'm used to seeing on there, I'm gonna go, this is not my bank. They're manipulating via HTML what I'm looking at. If I actually go and open, I wouldn't do it at the time that they're asking me to do that, but that would be, as soon as I hang up, that's my very first call to the bank. I wanna verify that my bank account is actually safe, that no one's manipulated it. Okay, so we'll get into some red flags of scams. So unsolicited requests for personal information. Just the first part, the unsolicited. If it's unsolicited, there's a good chance that it's a scam. But when they start asking for personal information, like you called me, you should know that information. Hey, I'm from your doctor's office. Then you should know my name. You should know my insurance. You should know my date of birth. I shouldn't have to tell you. I'm from Social Security Administration. Well, you got my number, so you should also know my Social Security number. So that's a big, big red flag when they're asking for personal. I can't think of a legitimate agency that's going to ask you for items such as your password, your date of birth, your Social Security number. Okay? When they start asking for personal information, say, I'm going to hang up. Let me verify that you are who you are. Hang up and call that agency that they claim to be from and verify if it is in fact happening. Pressure to act quickly. As I said, if you tell them, I'm going to verify, I'm going to hang up, they're going to go, no, don't hang up. And notice on some of the other text messages that I received that said, you have 24 hours. Okay? You always have a time frame. You have a deadline because you got to act quickly. We had a lady here who, she was scammed for a couple $1,000s, and the whole time, she didn't have the money the way that they wanted it, so a common way that they'll take payment is gift cards. And they say, stay on the phone, do not hang up with me. And the whole time, from here all the way to Walmart, she was on the phone with them, and she went and bought a couple $1,000s worth of gift cards. And even while she was in Walmart, they said, do not hang up. Because why? Exactly. You might get your senses back. You might go, wait a minute, why are they asking me for gift cards? And why are they telling me to go? The IRS doesn't tell people to go to Walmart and get gift cards. They don't want you to do it. They want you to stay under the spell of the pressure that they have you under. They have that authority that you believe that it is the IRS. You do believe that it is the Social Security Administration. And so they want you there. They want you to be under that tension, because if they release it, you might get your clear mind back. Yes?
Well, that story you were just telling me reminds me of somebody who went to Walmart or somewhere to get gift cards, and the gal behind the cash registers that was asking her, what are you getting all these gift cards for? So they're also trained to watch for that.
Yes. Very, very true. My son works at Walgreens in Las Vegas, and that's one of the things that they ask. If somebody's buying multiple gift cards, they're trained to ask, did somebody ask you to get these to make a payment? Because it's such a common scam. So understand that if they're asking you to make a payment with gift cards, that's a huge red flag. That's not legitimate. The IRS, Social Security Administration, they're not going to tell you, make payments with gift cards. Understand that they don't have to physically have the gift card in hand. Just you reading the number off of it, they can access the money that's in that gift card. So they do not need the gift card. Without the card, yes. And the reason gift cards are preferred by scammers, so untraceable. So another red flag is if it sounds too good to be true. We all know the saying. There's a reason why it's wisdom. I tell my kids, all these sayings is wisdom from long, long time ago. Somebody made a mistake somewhere. Somebody learned a valuable lesson, and then it became a saying, and we pass it down. And sometimes we don't even know the origin, but it's just wisdom. So if it's too good to be true, it probably is, okay? Payment. We talked a little bit about this. Wire transfer and gift cards. If someone is asking from a major corporation, a major government entity, and they're saying they need payment via wire transfer or gift card, the only wire transfer that I remember I've ever done is when you're purchasing a home and you're doing down payment, the escrow money. But otherwise, I don't know, I've never ever made any kind of payment via a wire transfer. What's another reason for a wire transfer?
Buying an airplane.
And we all have done that, right?
Big purchase. You wire,
Right.
I bought a truck and a camper and wired money to, and I'm telling you, it's a little disconcerting when you're waiting for the bank to hit send and he hasn't gotten it, but it's left your account. And that 45 minutes or whatever, you're pretty nervous.
But it's also very explicit in the instructions on the steps that you must take. You have to follow each and every one of those steps for your protection. And so gift card's the other one, that if a legitimate company is asking for a gift card payment, that's a very, very much a red flag. Request for money. We talked about it a little bit already. Social Security Administration, the IRS, they will not be asking for money over the phone. So anytime someone's asking for money, that's another red flag. The promise of large sums of money, okay? A real common one there is, give me a little bit now and I'll give you so much bigger later. And we fall for it. Sure, I'll give you 1,000 and get 10. That's a heck of a return on investment. But we fall for it. Unauthorized charges. So it's really important that people monitor their credit cards, their banks, your credit. You can get a free credit report once a year, but there's all these apps, all these services that can do it. I just bought a truck, and I'm telling you, within minutes, as soon as the loan went through, I have Expedia because I've got some free. There's some free ones. Credit Sesame, that's free. I got 3 alerts immediately that you got a credit inquiry. So that tells me that somebody's buying a truck with my information. It was me, so I knew it was okay. If I get something, a credit inquiry, I'm gonna go look, wait a minute, I haven't bought anything major that somebody should be checking my credit. That's when you need to go check your credit. Okay, calls or emails from government agencies, okay? Because they claim to be from the government doesn't mean you need to open up your wallet. Okay? If you know you haven't committed any crimes, there's no reason why the U.S. Marshals are contacting you. Just go, wait a minute, why are they calling me? I've never committed a crime. I don't have any family members that are criminals. So this has to be a scam. Okay, scammers often make spelling. We talked about, a little bit about this. They often make spelling or grammar mistakes that official organizations do not. Okay, so let's look at this. Oh, actually, we looked at this one already, but what were some of the obvious ones? The very top, start from the top down, the short number. That short number, that's not the U.S. Postal Service. Okay, it would be USPS.gov. That would probably be their true email. So if you have .com and an online shipment 916SB1, who knows what the heck that means? That's a huge red flag right there. And then obviously the grammar is so poor. And then you have the hyperlink, so do not touch it. I just report the junk and delete it. But remember, AI is making easier for them. They can just type in, prompt it, give me an invoice for a computer that costs $900, and then it'll have a professional looking, very well written, grammatically correct, everything will be spelled correctly, so it's getting harder to detect. But not everyone's up to par yet, not up to speed with AI, so if there is bad grammar, that's a clue. Unofficial email accounts, legitimate organizations have official email addresses. One of the things that you can do is when you get an email that's suspicious, hover the cursor over the name of the company that's sending that. When you hover over it, it'll pop because that could be spoofed. That could say Verizon.com. Put your cursor over it, and you're going to see the true address where it came from. So you don't have to click on it. You don't have to do anything. But just if you find it that it's suspicious, that's the step you can take. The cursor over the name, it'll give you the true email address where it came from. If they don't match 100%, that's a scam. The name and the email address in the from fields do not match. So this is the other point. So this is one that I got, and if you can see in the background, this was the actual email that I got, and then this was an attachment. So I knew it was a scam because looking at, this is from PayPal. So Brianna Resendez, and then I put the cursor over her name, and it was a different email. So I knew it was a scam, but I clicked on this, on the attachment, and this is what I got. So if you look at that, so number one, did you order anything from PayPal? Is there any reason why PayPal should be contacting you? If there's not, then automatically assume, wait a minute, this might be a scam. But if you did happen to order something and the timing on behalf of the scammers is just right, and you did expect something, and then you open this up, what are some clues that this is not legit? Also remember, you're in a class, in a scam class, so you're being a lot more vigilant. You're being a lot more, you're looking for something that, obviously, I want to put it up there if there wasn't something. So if we can be this vigilant at home by ourselves, we're going to be more apt to catch something like this. All right, let's start from the very top. You order, not your order, but it's you order, and then confirm, it's got a capital C, space, colon, that's bad grammar, estimated delivery time, when is it? And then you go to the very bottom. If this order in place without your authority, instead of saying is, if this order is placed without your authorization or have any query related to your order, just poor grammar. Just that's a huge red flag. That's a big telltale sign that that's a scam. Then the very bottom, note, order on Saturday, small s, and Sunday, small s, will be delivered on Monday. If that's all it takes to make you suspicious, great, go with it. Call PayPal. Go, no numbers off of here. Because if you call that number, guess who's going to answer? Hello, this is PayPal. But it's not, okay? Because they're going to put their number. If I'm a scammer, I'm going to put my number there. So when you call me, I'm going to respond such as, PayPal. So you're going to go, oh, it is PayPal. The guy said behind the phone, said, but it's my number. So do not use any information that's on this suspicious email. Go independent of the email, go to the website, look up PayPal customer service, and then you call. Well, number one, note if the number's the same.
That number's not a toll-free number. Shouldn't it be a toll-free number if you're calling PayPal?
I don't know. I would think so. But I would call, and it should actually, yeah, I would call PayPal and then say, hey, I received a suspicious invoice. Well, number one, if you didn't order a computer, I'm going to ignore it. Because what they're telling you to do here is there's a charge for $953. So we're almost compelled to, wait a minute, a $953 charge on something I didn't buy? I want to fix this. I want this removed from my credit. Just let it be. That's what I did with this. I know that I didn't order a computer, and I know that this is a scam. I really did. That's my name and my email. I blocked my email, so.
He doesn't trust we can get it.
It's not that difficult to find out. So common scams. So AI-powered scams. Criminals now use AI, as we've already mentioned, to study online behavior and craft convincing scams. So this is where AI is really, really helpful. You can, I mean, it's amazing what AI can do now. I mean, there's so much information on there. You just give it the right prompt, give me or make me an invoice for a computer that costs $960 that was purchased on this date. And you're going to have a very professional, very convincing looking invoice. AI is an amazing, amazing technology. But the important thing, and I don't know, it's kind of scary at the same time, we're in the very infancy stages of AI. I cannot imagine, and I'll bet you in as little as 5 years, it's going to be amazing what we can do. We were just talking about, maybe some of you have seen it, a video where Trump, Joe Biden, Elon Musk, they're all tatted out and they're rappers, and you know, that's AI. That's AI. I mean, I see it going to where there's already, you can kind of tell somewhat where you see a video of someone saying something and you can, oh, that's AI, that's doc, but it's going to get to the point where you will not be able to tell. The facial expressions, the micro expressions, they're going to be right in sync with the voice, the words, and we won't be able to tell a legitimate video from an AI created video. All right, so AI, we are going to have to just be more careful with AI, because something will appear very, very legitimate, because anyone has access to it, and especially people that have, such as, like I said, India is unfortunately where a lot of the scammers are produced, because that's a very common degree that they obtain, computer science, but there are no jobs, so they have to resort to stuff like this. All right, funeral scams, and I mean, man, can you talk about kicking a person when they're down? Okay, scammers can exploit obituaries, and obviously, what do we do in our obituaries? We tell someone's entire life, down to the name of the dog, their beloved dog, everything. And so someone with all your life information can now pose to your estate, your loved ones, as creditors. Hey, your husband, your wife, they have this debt. And you're going to go, you're not in a state of being critical. You're not in a state of being, okay, let me just pay it. We'll just want to get it over with. And okay. They might attend services to gather more information, because the eulogy, someone's going to speak. Someone's going to give even more information. Oh, he loved this. She loved that. This is what they were all about. And they're going to use all of that information to defraud people. Always request rent proof and never send money immediately, okay? Understand that those victims are not in the best state of mind to be handling financial affairs. All right, computer tech support. This is a real common one where something will pop, it'll look really scary. Sometimes there's sirens, there's a big warning, your computer's infected, there's a virus. Immediately call Microsoft. And it's like, oh man, I can't control, nothing works. The mouse doesn't work, keyboard doesn't work, and you have this big flashing thing, and there's a big number that you want to call. And so you're going to call that number, and they're going to go, Microsoft support, how can I help you? Okay, it is not Microsoft support, okay? It is not. So what you do is unplug your computer. Just unplug it.
But see, they tell you if you do that, then forget it, everything is lost.
Of course. Of course. Because what is the one thing they don't want you to do? They have access to your computer. If you unplug it, they lose it. So do not unplug it. If I'm the scammer, that's what I would tell you. So the solution is very simple. If you have flashing lights, you have a warning, you have a virus, do not unplug, do not turn off, unplug it. Okay? That's the very simple solution to that. Okay, scammers pose as tech supports to access your computer or charge you for fake services. Never grant remote access. We talked about remote access. Hey, all you got to do is, look, install this and I'll be able to help you. Control R, it'll download a program. Now they're acting as if they were directly behind the computer. Basically, move over, I'm taking over, and they now have access to your computer. Some are just view what you're looking at, they can view it. Others are full remote access, where they can actually move the mouse, the cursor, click, look at files, make it look like they'll go mess with your HTML and go, look, I'm looking at your bank account. Oh, you clearly have a virus on your computer. Let's make sure that the bad guys haven't gotten to your bank account. And then they'll mess with the HTML, and they'll see the logos. They can see what banks we bank with because we have them saved on our webpage, or we have the icon on the desktop. And so, oh, Wells Fargo, okay, let me make they're familiar with what a Wells Fargo webpage looks like, and they'll set one up. They'll just create one with HTML on that. But you don't see this. This is happening behind the scenes. You don't see them creating that. Okay, government imposters. We talked a little bit about this. Scammers may impersonate the IRS, Social Security, demanding payment or personal information. Remember, IRS, Social Security, they should have your information. If they're calling you, do not give it to them, because they should have it. I don't feel comfortable doing this. What is this about? Well, we need to verify who you are. Well, you called me. I don't need you, so figure out another way to do it. But do not provide your personal information. They often spoof. Remember, spoofing makes it look like when you pick up your phone, It'll say IRS on it. It'll say Social Security Administration. It does not mean that that's in fact who it is. That it appears legitimate and may request gift card payments. Don't respond, verify first. If they're asking for gift card payments, that's a huge red flag. That's not legit. The IRS and the Social Security Administration will never initiate contact with people through a phone call. I'll say it again. The IRS and the Social Security Administration will never initiate contact with people through a phone. So you can be sure that the person calling you is a scammer. All right? Grandparent scam. Scammers pose as grandchildren in emergencies asking for money or gift cards. They often use details from obituaries or social media to sound convincing. Always verify before sending anything. So I'll share one personal one. My father-in-law, he's 85. My wife and her daughter had just gone to visit, and they left no more than 5 minutes later. So sometimes their timing is impeccable. Okay, so they had just left. My wife and her daughter had just left, and he gets a phone call from a scammer, and it's a little girl crying. So if somebody's crying and they got this urgency in their voice, it's easy to say, "You don't sound like my granddaughter." "Oh my God, Grandpa, this is what happened." And so, yeah, you're going to sound different. So you're not going to be critical, like, "Is this in fact my granddaughter? Mom just got in a crash and she can't talk. I have a police officer, he wants to talk to you." And my father-in-law doesn't speak English very well. So the officer supposedly got on there, a male comes on and starts asking him for information. And he's like, "I don't know what the heck you're talking about." And so he asks his other daughter to call my wife and find out if she's okay, because something had happened, and it was like, "Yes, I'm fine." And so
That was just a coincidence?
it was just, their timing was just right. Sometimes that happens. The timing is just right. As I was saying, sometimes we do place an order with Amazon. A day later, a scammer pretending to be from Amazon calls, and it's just coincidental. So, but how did they know? I did, in fact, order that. It was just a coincidence. Because remember, you're just one of thousands of people that they threw this email out to, they casted this text message to, and you happen to bite on it because, hey, I just bought something from Amazon yesterday. It must be legitimate. It's not. Internet scams. Scammers use social media. And remember, social media, we reveal so much. Remember, social media is a public forum. It's just like saying it out in public. And so sometimes we go, "Oh, I'm only talking to my friends." But a lot of people are they're seeing what you're saying, and you're putting out that information. What do we disclose on social media? Our successes, our anniversaries, our birthdays, vacations. Hey, go. Sometimes I've seen people post, "I'm at the airport and I'm going to so-and-so for a week." So what does that mean? If you're in fill in the blank, that means you're not here. And I know you're not going to be here for a week. So we sometimes forget that social media is a public forum. And when we put out a lot of information about it, that information can somehow find its way back to be used against us inappropriately. Social media to impersonate celebrities. Because, man, if you get one of somebody that you admire, a singer, a movie star, an athlete, and you're like, "Whoa, really?" That alone, we got you. Reel you in. Asking for personal information or money. Hopefully, if you got a famous person, they're not going, "Can you lend me a buck?" That's a red flag, okay? Avoid oversharing. Stay cautious. Delete suspicious messages. Okay, on the internet scams, unfortunately, scammers are opportunists, and anytime there's a natural disaster, we just had the fires in Palisade, and that's a prime time for scammers. "Oh, don't you want to donate to these poor people? Oh, they're in need. They're homeless. Their home's burnt down. Donate to this, donate to that." And you go on AI, you make an amazing looking, very official looking organization with nice colors, logos, and things like that. And here we are wanting to be, oh, let me help in whatever way I can. Maybe I can donate 20 bucks, 50 bucks, 100 bucks, and we donate. And we don't really know where that money went. And a lot of scammers take advantage of those tragedies that happen. And unfortunately, they're going to keep happening. And so we have to be vigilant on who it is that we're donating to. We feel good about helping our, fellow man, but we just got to make sure. We know the Red Cross is legit. There's a lot of organizations that we know those are legitimate. Donate to the legitimate known entities. Don't something new, something that's just because it looks official doesn't necessarily mean that it's official. Investment scams. Everybody wants to make money. The average rate of return in the stock market, if you're in it for a while, is 7 to 10%. Okay? So with that in mind, anytime somebody's saying you can make 50%, you can double your money. Remember one of the red flags, too good to be true, like double my money? Then why isn't everyone doing it if it's that simple? Just double my money. So understand, 7 to 10% is the average rate of return for the stock market. So anything above that is like, it's a clue. That's a clue. Be very suspicious. Ask many, many questions. So fake investment opportunities promising high returns with little risk. If you're going to make big money, there's going to be big risks. They just go hand in hand. It's impossible to have low risk for big return. Everyone would be doing it if that was the case. So Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes. So in order for, obviously, we're all familiar with that. I have to bring in more people to make up for the money that they ripped me off for. So now I'm going to rip you off and you to make up some money, and so on and so on. But it's someone's getting rich, and the guy that started is the one that's going to get the richest. Check fraud. Thieves can steal checks and alter them, changing amounts, payees, duplicating them digitally to commit fraud. Use secure methods for sending payment. So a lot of people still like to use mail or checks, and during mail theft, that's when we have check fraud. We've had, unfortunately, we do have, hopefully one day we go to lock boxes, and that will hopefully reduce the number of mail theft. But when we have a check, when we pay our bills with a check and we get that, there's a process called bleaching. What you do is you stick the whole check into a solution and it wipes off all the ink. So let's think about the things that we put on, that we write on. The name of the company, the amount, we spell it out, and then our signature. So if I can bleach that check, put it out and have it dry, I have a blank check to your account. Now I can come back and say, pay to the order of Jay Rivera for, let's say, $1,000, and I'll write $1,000. And I can just squibbly make it look like it's your signature. I go to the bank, cash it, and they're going to go, yep, this account, yep, there's $1,000 in that, here's your money. That's simple. So one of the things that's recommended, and this is used, anybody in the finance world, banking, so this is a common pen. It's a gel pen. So this is what the Uniball 207, this is the kind of ink that it cannot be bleached. So if you still write checks, get this kind of pen, okay? Because this is the kind of pen that if they do steal your check and they do put it in that solution, the ink will not come off. And so that stays permanent. So the check will go to the intended person. Well, it won't go, but at least it won't go to the not intended person where they can alter it. Anywhere. Amazon. Yeah, it's very common. Any of the office stores, Staples. Yeah, they're not that rare. They're very common. So you can definitely go on Amazon and get them. Reverse mortgages. Okay, we're all familiar with what they are. Be cautious with reverse mortgage offers. Don't share home detail or send payments. Always consult a trusted lender or advisor. So remember, if they called you about it, be suspicious. If you're looking at doing a reverse mortgage, you initiate with a reputable person, a reputable company. One of the best things that you can do is talk to your neighbors, talk to family members, talk to people that you know that have done that, and ask them for their experience, ask them for that contact, and use them. If it's a legitimate company and your loved one, your friend, your neighbor has had good luck with them, then use them. But it's always best that when we initiate, when we do the homework, and we are the ones that go out there. Don't let someone call you out of the blue and then they talk you into it. Caregiving scams. Carefully vet caregivers before allowing them into your home. Some may seek to access your personal data. Obviously, if they are helping, and unfortunately, we do have a lot of that here, where a lot of caregiving, but not the scams, but we do have scams. You have to, a lot of times you're paying their bills, the caregiver's paying the person's bills, and so you have to have access to their checkbook, their accounts, their credit cards. And so if that person has that and they have bad intentions, they now have access to do a lot of harm. Okay, so be very careful. That's another one. Ask your friends, ask neighbors, who do you use? Somebody reputable. That's one of the best things that you can do. Word of mouth. Sweepstakes scams, unsolicited. And again, I keep harping on that. If they call you and you didn't call them, it's probably a scam. Messages claiming that you won a prize or a lottery. But first, you need to pay a fee to claim it. Okay? So you win $10,000, but it's only going to cost you $1,000. We just got a filing fee. And as soon as you send that in, I will send you the $10,000. Like, great. That's a great return, right? But imagine if they do that 10, 15 times a day. That's a great day's worth of work, you know, $15,000. So they get 1,000 from you, 1,000 from you, 1,000 from you. And so if you have to pay to win a prize, it's not legit. Job scams. Job scams often involve fake postings aimed at stealing your personal information or bank details. That's another one. Well, we got a great job for you. What job did you want? Oh, we have that job. Okay, but first what we need $500 for the filing fee. We need to put all this information down, but first $500, and then we'll send you the contact information for you to apply and start working. But we can get you that job. And sure, like my dream job, here you go, $500. Or we give them a credit card, or we give them a bank account. Ask questions. So here's my phone. I need to get some antivirus, but this is my phone, and this is a job offer. But right off the bat, what's the big red flag? At gmail.com, okay? Gmail.com, that's usually that's a private person's email address, not a company's. So right off the bat, this is coming from a person. So this is coming from, I'm a recruiter, and TikTok. TikTok is huge, okay? TikTok should have a TikTok.com or TikTok.gov or something short. So it says, I'm a recruiter for TikTok cross-border e-commerce department. We are rapidly growing TikTok e-commerce team and now looking for passionate and creative people to join our team. 1, generous salary and promotion space. So I think they're trying to say promotional space. So there's a clue, promotion, the way that they wrote that. Salary is settled weekly. That's kind of unusual. Usually it's paid, or but not settled. Weekly salary is $1,000 plus commission, easily over $10,000 per month. Ooh, that sounds really good. 2, flexible working hours and excellent benefits. You only need to have a cell phone and work no more than 1 hour a day. This is sounding really, really good. Requirements, 23 to 80. No educational limit. You could be as smart as you want, okay? If interested, please contact us so we can all laugh at this because we're in a class for fraud and we can go, okay, that's silly. But imagine this. You're a person that you just lost your job, you just got laid off, and you're in financial trouble. And, how are we going to pay the house? The rent's due. And you get something like this. You think you'd be more apt to, you know what, it sounds a little, but let's give it a try. What if it's legitimate? Let's give it a try. And so what's going to happen is you're going to call, and they're going to go, great. All we need is $500, and you'll have that job. You can start working. And it's going to sound like, man, this is the answer to my prayers. I've been asking for this, And now I know how I'm going to pay the rent. Now I know how I'm going to get gas. Now I know all these things. And now they took your 500 that was like the last set of money you had, and they don't care. They don't care. They will take it. Okay, so if it sounds too good to be true, it is. All right, so let's talk prevention. Education, as I said in the beginning, the best thing that we can do is share our stories, share the bad things that happen to us, okay? I try to share stories of some of the things that I've seen here because that's my goal. My goal is to educate people, to make you guys hard target so it doesn't happen, so that I don't have to take a report from you because you lost thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. Report scams. It's really, really important because by you sharing your lesson, somebody else, maybe multiple people can learn from that and not have to experience the same thing. Encourage skeptical and critical thinking. Become Gen Zs and Gen X people. Ask why, how come? You got to do that. Do not share personal information. Very, very huge red flag when they start asking, oh, we need your name, date of birth, social security number, your PIN number, your password. Banks will not ask for password. Banks will not ask for your PIN number. But I'm calling Chase and they're asking me for, well, they called me and they're saying they're from Chase and they're asking me for that. They should know my PIN, so I guess it's okay to, no, it's not going to be Chase. It's not going to be Wells Fargo that's asking for your PIN number. Verify the caller's identity. You can simply say, if you want to be polite, say, listen, I'm a little suspicious. I'm going to hang up and verify that you are who you are. You go to the web page, you find the number, you call them and say, is it in fact you who's calling me? You will then know that it was a scam. Set up call blocking. That on your phone, if you see that you're getting a lot of scams, block that number. As you've been seeing on my apps, I have that feature where it just says report. And so that blocks it. Okay, have updated, I already talked about this, updated antivirus software protection on all your devices. That is how you can surf the net, do banking on the net safely. This is one of the measures that we just have to do. When you buy a new computer, when you buy a new phone, make sure that there's antivirus software protection on it. If you suspect that there's anything wrong with your computer, take it into town, take it to Best Buy, have them scan it, analyze it, maybe wipe it clean. If they do find a virus, because sometimes you'll have malware, like adware and things like that. We all do. I'm sure we all have it. They can wipe all that and install the latest and greatest antivirus software because it's a cat and mouse game. The people that do this stuff, that invent these viruses, they're, okay, so the antivirusware can do this. Let's find something that won't be able to be detected or can't be fought. And so then the antivirus people come up with something that counters that. And so they're constantly changing. So don't do it once and think, I'm good. I did it 5 years ago. If you have 5-year-old antivirusware, you're deficient. Because I guarantee in the last 5 years, there's hundreds and hundreds of new viruses that have been invented. So at least once a year, make it a point to have, and you can do it, download it. You can buy your antivirus, download it online. If you're not familiar, if you don't feel comfortable, just take it into town and have them do that. Regularly monitor your financial accounts. Check your credit report annually. As I said, there's apps that can notify you when somebody makes an inquiry. They make a purchase that you can know, like, wait a minute, somebody's making a big purchase. Why is somebody checking? Why do I have a credit inquiry? Go check your credit, and then you can see who applied. Prevention. Consider subscribing to identity theft protection services like Aura, LifeLife, or Experian to safeguard your personal information from unauthorized access. I use Experian. I'm not saying I endorse them or anything, but that's the one. I got that from, what was it? There was some data leak, and I think it was Verizon or T-Mobile, and they gave me 2 years free of Experian, and I liked it, so I've subscribed to it now. Passwords. Okay, don't share them. Don't share them. I'll tell you why it's so important. Because most of us, and you don't have to raise your hand, but we're all guilty of it. There's hundreds of probably, we have 100 passwords for all kinds of accounts, from financial accounts to games that we play to silly apps and everything in between. And probably 50% of them are the same word. It's the same password. So guess what? If you share your password with a grandchild, a nephew, something, and it's for something innocent, like, oh, that they can have access to it, no big deal. But now they go onto your bank and they go, well, let's see if they also use the same word for the bank. Oh, they do. Now I have access to your bank account. So that's why, especially the financial accounts, the banks, the investments, each and every one. If you have 4 banks, you should have 4 passwords. Do not use the same one, because if I can scam you into one, I have access to all 4. Have different ones, and don't make it easy words. And I'll talk more about that. Use different passwords on different accounts, on different systems and accounts. Yeah, like I said, truth be told, we usually like simple ones so that we can remember them. But when it comes to the financial institutes, definitely this one applies. Use different passwords for your financial. And if you got to write them down, write them down. Preferably in a place where not everyone can see it. Don't put it right on your computer screen, because that's the easiest one. That if I'm a burglar and I go into your house and I see, I don't want to give my passwords out. Bear Valley, Bear Valley the best. And that's written on there. I'm going to go, oh, that's his password. Let's see how many of his icons on here I can get into with this password. Use the longest password or passphrase permissible by each password system. The longer it is, because each digit, each letter, they have to guess. Okay? The more you have, if you have ABC123, nice and cute, nice to remember, right? But it's super simple to guess as well. So the longer you make it, the harder it is going to be to guess it, the harder it's going to be to infiltrate it and get past that. All right, so on passwords, so when you go to, this is from 2 banks. I bank with Chase, I bank with Wells Fargo, Chase, and also U.S. Bank. I had a lot of credit cards. So when you change, and this is a big common scam, when you change a password, you go on to where it says username, and so you can, if you auto-populate it, even easier for me as a scammer. You push that, and then this one doesn't show it, but you'll oftentimes see, forgot my password. And so what you'll get is, you'll get a message. In this case, I got it from Chase. And what you'll notice is, I'll go with US Bank first, 514398. I input that in there, and then that's my 2-factor authentication. So they now go, okay, computer and phone both match, so reset your new password. They won't give you the old password. You'll have to reset a new one. So they throw in a code, okay? So that's the 2-factor authentication. What's really important to know is that also, hey, I'm from Wells Fargo, and I could be on the Wells Fargo webpage, and I can already have your username or your email, because so many of us oftentimes use our email as our username. So if I have your email and I input that in there, and I go, hey, I'm from Wells Fargo, there's been some suspicious activity on your phone. And so, but first I need to verify that you are in fact who you are. So I'm going to send you a code, and please read it back to me. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to be acting just as if you were trying to reset your password. So I'm going to go, forgot my password, and then Wells Fargo is going to try to do the 2-factor authentication, and you will get it. And what you're doing inadvertently is you're reading this number back to me. So now I input it in there, and now I can set the password to whatever I want. And now you can't get into your own bank account, and I can clean you out. So if you notice what it says, US Bank alert, 51439 is your code. Do not share this code with someone contacting you. If you didn't make this request, please call, then they put a hyperlink. But I like what Chase does, because what the industry has gotten to know is, look, all people are doing is they're looking for that number. They're not really reading the text. So if you notice, the very first thing that Chase does is it says, don't share. Hopefully you get that message first. Use code 48 to confirm you're signing in. We will never, all capital letters, that means they're yelling. We will never call to ask you for this code. So if somebody says, I'm sending you a code, It's not them sending it. They're simply using Wells Fargo to do what we know that when you click forgot my password, that's going to trigger one of these two-factor authentication messages. You will get that text message, and now you're reading it back to me, and I'm the scammer, and you just gave me your password, or gave me the ability to reset your password. So please, when you get this, read the entire message. Do not share. We will never call to ask you for the code. If somebody's asking you to read this two-factor authentication code, they are 1,000% a scammer. The banks will not ask you for it. Even the person, if you call the bank and they're going to tell you, we're going to send you a code. They're never going to ask you, read it back to me. They're not, because that's a policy. Okay, consider using password manager programs to keep track of your password. This is, instead of writing down a piece of paper, a password manager is an application where you can save all your apps. And then that goes into a cloud. So if my phone, and so I'll, so the one that I use is called Keeper. And so I do the face recognition, it recognizes my face. And so where are my glasses? I ran out of arm. I used to be like this, but I ran. All right, so this is my old mortgage company. So you can see face services, and then there, if I click the I, it will show you the password. So with this, I would know like, oh, what's my mortgage company? Let me look, Faye, and then it'll send me here, and then I'll remember it. So if this phone gets destroyed, completely destroyed, I can go buy a new phone, log into, and so obviously the password that you use to get in here has to be very unique. It's a super, super long, and I let the phone do it. Because a lot of times, if you let the phone do it, they're going to make a super hard password. That's the one that I do need to remember. And I won't tell you where I keep it, but because it's asterisk, sign, pound number, 1, 2, 3, capital. In a lifetime, you couldn't guess it. Okay? So that's the one that's very unique. And so that's one of those that you definitely want to have different from my banks. Each one has a different password. And even when I do security questions, name the name of your grandkids. Don't use the name of your grandkids. Invent a name. Make up a name. And then I put it into my password manager. Like my best friend. I'm not going to put my real best friend's name. I'm going to make up some weird name that I would never think of. And I don't remember. And so I have to go to the password manager because I'm not doing that often. And so I don't want someone that knows me, that knows who my friend is, and know who my kids are. They're going to guess names. Name of a child. Oh, I know his 3 kids. Let me see if it's this one. Nope. This one. Nope. No, they get 3. I have 3. So there's 3 guesses. And so I'm not going to use any of those insecurity questions. I do not use real information. I personally just make up stuff, but then I write it down in my password manager because it's on there. And if it does get destroyed, it will be in the cloud. When I buy my new phone, I will log into that same app again, and I'll have them all over again. Did that answer the question? Okay. Okay, do not use passwords that are based on personal information that can easily be accessed or guessed. All right, we talked about that. Do not use words that can be found in any dictionary or language. Because again, it goes back to the guessing and, okay, what city are you from? What kids do you have? What's your birthday? When is your anniversary? Your husband's, your wife's birthday? And those are the common things that we do that make it easy for a bad guy, a scammer, to guess. We all are. But my point being, when it comes to the financial, the ones that would really hurt to lose, make sure that those are top secret. Don't use those common. All these are especially applicable to financial institutions. Okay, almost done. Resources. If you are, in fact, a victim, or even an attempted victim, these are some resources. The Federal Trade Commission, this is a national database that collects all of this information, all of this education, and you can be, 1, put on a national do not call registry. If you are a victim of identity theft, go to identitytheft.gov. There's a lot of educational stuff on there that you can look at, a lot of videos for very good information. But if you are the victim of identity theft, we're going to encourage that you go there and file a report, as well as we will take a report. One, we want to know what's going on in our community, but it's even better when it's on a national scale so that we can all then get a better idea of what the latest and greatest scams are going on. And this is how we will know. When you go forward and you report it, instead of going, oh, I feel so stupid, I can't believe I did that, that you don't do anything, you don't say anything. You are just one of many, many people to whom it's happening, but you're not disclosing it. Share that lesson with someone so that hopefully we prevent someone else from becoming that. And another one is report fraud at .ftc.gov. You see there's no .gmail.com. These are government, real legitimate government email addresses. Another one to go to is also the FBI, IC3, the Internet Crime Complaint Center. They're simply formats. You just, who was it? What did they do? What did they ask? They're looking for patterns. They're looking for MO so that they can identify the latest scam. And then in turn, these federal agencies will then turn around and start educating the public. Credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. There's apps for free. Experian has one for free. You can annually get one for free for all three. For Experian, if you want to get Equifax and TransUnion, you then have to pay more money. But Equifax will give you your credit score with them, but it won't give you the scores to Equifax and TransUnion. And then lastly, obviously call us, because we want to know what's going on in the community so that when we have these classes, we can go, here's what's been happening in our community. If there's no other questions, one other thing. The next class that we'll be doing is, we don't have it on the schedule yet, but next month, and it's how to be a good witness. And this is a very important class because to us as the police, there's only 4 or 5 of us, okay? When we incorporate the community into crime fighting, into maintaining the security of this community, there's nothing like being force multipliers with citizens. And so this is a class for residents to understand what it is that we, the police, look for, what it is that we need. When you call 911 or the non-emergency number, what information do we need? Not just get here. When you get here, we'll tell you. There's some vital information that we need to have, if you have it, and if you know how to look at how to obtain it and what it is that we're looking for, that you can then relay it to us, so then when we receive it and we get on scene, we can now legally take action. Just look out for this. I enjoyed putting this class together. I used to teach this because our dispatchers, because there's legal aspects of it, and they better understand why they got to ask all the questions, and because of the legalities involved with it. But just be on the lookout for it, and we'll be announcing it, and hope to see you there. All right, thank you.